Buddy, and tell us what we're going to be doing.
Yeah, welcome everyone. I'm excited to be here again. We had a whale shark webinar that was very well received a couple of weeks ago, and quite a few people missed it, and others showed interest. So I'm delighted that you're all here. We are going to be talking, obviously, about whale sharks today and about the trip specifically that Baja Air Ventures does down in Baja, California to snorkel with the whale sharks August through October. So I really appreciate everyone being here. What you can look forward to is learning about how we do our trip, some of the behavior of the whale sharks, where they are, the consistency, what they feed on, what you can expect um, on this bucket list trip. We also have some special guests, some alumni that have gone on the trip and experienced what hopefully many of you will experience in the future. And then at the very end, we have some special deals in appreciation of you attending the webinar. And hey, we want to get you down there. That's how we built the company. Just people are very happy to go, repeat business, word of mouth. So it's a win-win for everyone. So you can go next.
Okay, so I'm going to do this is Kevin Warren's brother Tim, and I'm just going to do a little bit of housekeeping here to help you to maximize this for you all in attendance. Is first thing, turn off your emails and other programs because sometimes they can interfere with this. And we are definitely going to have some Q&A during this event. We want to connect with you, and thank you so much to everyone who sent in questions. We'll be addressing those. And other questions that come in. I just saw a typo on this slide here. The but on your control panel, there's next to your name, there's a little thing that's there's a place to raise your hands, a little green hand that you can raise your hand when we're doing Q&A. Also, you'll notice on your control panel, there's a thing called questions. And on that questions, you can type in your questions. I see one, Glenn has said, hey, hi. And Mr. Jamtastic also says hi. So if you all could just take a look for your little questions thing, and if you see that, and you know where I'm talking about, just type in a quick yes in there and send that to all. And so we know that you know how to send us a question. And I encourage people to send questions while Kevin's doing his presentation. And I will be working on answering those. And if you thank you, Willow. And if you have any comments or have any hearing challenges, just shoot me send something in the question, and I will get back to you. So on that note, I'm going to turn it back over to Kevin.
Okay, yeah. I started this company, a little bit about me. I started this company back in the mid 80s, actually got going in 1989. I'd always loved Baja, loved camping. My dad took me down on some great trips. That's a picture of my dad, and actually Tim standing right behind me. And I love flying from a very early age, building hang gliders and flying ultralights. And most people thought I was crazy, but I kept at it. And anyways, long story short, combined my love of flying, my love of nature, the outdoors, and kind of kept doing what I like to do, and ended up 24 years later with Baja Air Ventures and Las Animas Wilderness Retreats and all-inclusive soft eco adventures. So that's how I started this whole thing. Never really started off to do what I do. It just kind of kept taking a right turn when everyone said go left, and ended up here. Um, and those are some pictures of some of the early days back flying when I used to do just surfing trips, and we would fly down and land on the beach, and then the whales would come in the wintertime, and we already had the equipment there and the camp and the airplanes, and I said, man, people have to see this. This is unbelievable. So we started letting people know that we did whale watching trips as well, and it just kept growing, and we bought land and developed a lodge, and here we are doing a webinar in 2013. So you can go next. Just some more pictures. I live in San Diego. I have a lovely wife and three beautiful daughters, and they love the outdoors too, and love flying, and love snorkeling with the whale sharks and everything that I hope that you guys get to do. Next. So anyways, we're here to talk about our whale shark trips. As it turns out, the Mid-Drift Island region, specifically on the Sea of Cortez, which is about 350 air miles, it's about halfway down the Baja Peninsula, if you look on a map, is one of the most consistent spots in the world for whale sharks in August, September, and October. We've had so many people that have gone to the Seychelles, to the Great Barrier Reef, to the Caribbean. They've been all over the place and never was able to snorkel with a whale shark, which is kind of the holy grail for divers and snorkelers alike. And then they come on our trip, and we have been successful in getting them to snorkel with the whale shark. So far this year, every one of our trips, guests have been able to snorkel with the whale sharks, so we're batting 1,000 right now. And the utilization of the aircraft is integral to the trip. It turns pretty much a 2-day drive or a grueling 12 to 14-hour day into a easy 2-hour flight. And it's absolutely a part of the trip. It's a grand aerial sightseeing tour down the Baja Peninsula. No border wait. Fly right over and right direct into the Mid-Drift Island region.
Kevin, the earlier you shared with me. Oh, we got a lot of background noise there. Turn down your speakers just a little bit, Kevin. The a great story about a woman about flying. Um,
Yeah. There are people, probably there's people listening right now that are a little apprehensive to travel by private aircraft. We've been doing this for 24 years. Perfect safety record. All of our pilots are high time experienced commercial pilots. As a matter of fact, I have one of our pilots here. He's listening right now, and he's going to be one of our guest speakers a little later, Tom Rubin. And we have a perfect safety record. But what Tim was referring to is I've had some guests who have been a little apprehensive, and then once they've gone on the flight with us, it's such a unique way to travel. You can see whales from the air sometimes. We fly over the lodge. It is the best seat in the house and really the best way to travel. And they're so glad that they didn't let their fear keep them from going on this trip. And actually, many people comment that it's smoother and than the airlines. And that's a picture of one of the many islands that we pass along the way. And it's a nice height and a nice speed that you can really see everything. And the pilot's right there, and you can ask them questions, and they're very knowledgeable about the area. That's Gonzaga, San Luis Gonzaga Bay. And we talk about the Baja Peninsula and some of the geography on our way down, and some of the, you can see the currents all swirling around that island and that peninsula, the different colorations in the water. So they're going to talk about that and what effect it has on the plants and the animals down in that area. And it's really, your trip starts from the moment you get in the airplane, and that's really what makes our trips very, very unique.
Hey, what we're going to do next, folks, is just a quick poll because we got people from all over the country here, really actually outside North America too, and we want to get some sense from you. How many of you have traveled to Mexico before? So we're going to launch a live poll right now and asking the simple question, how many of you have traveled to Mexico? So if you could answer the question there, you can see the little place, the yes or no, or you want to, and let us, know. We're just going to do this for about another 10 seconds. We've got 60% of you voted, 67%. Keep the votes coming in. We're going to count it down. Get your vote in, and we'll 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So let me share the results so you can see so you can all see. That a great percentage of you have traveled to Mexico, and equal balance of those wanting to or have not yet. So
Another thing I wanted to touch on, Tim, is that this area that we travel to, another couple of fears that come up is it safe to travel to Mexico? And we are literally in the middle of a wilderness area, 15 miles from a road. We fly from San Diego down to the Mid-Drift Island region, which is about as far away from a major population center as you can get in the Baja Peninsula. And then we get on a boat and we go an hour by boat. So there's no roads. I mean, literally we can see islands that are 50 miles away in the day, and the air is incredibly clear and just stunning vistas. But at night, there's not a single light on the horizon. So I feel safer out there than I do in my own gated community here in San Diego. It is just absolutely a beautiful area to visit and very safe. And we've never, ever had any problems whatsoever in our 24 years of operation. So just wanted to touch on that aspect. And the flying just puts us direct in the area. We don't even travel by land. We go by air, which is really the very best way to go. So the Mid-Drift Island region is one of the reasons we like the area. It's within 4 different parks. We've got a World Heritage Site. We've got the Valle de los Cirios protected area. We've got the Gulf of California Island Park, and we've got the Mid-Drift Island Park. So there's 4 areas, and that particular part of the Sea of Cortez is recognized as having the highest concentration of marine mammals and water birds in the entire Sea of Cortez, which is one of the most abundant seas in the world. And one of the reasons for that is the incredible plankton growth and bloom that we experience in this part of the Sea of Cortez due to upwellings of cold, nutrient-rich water that are forced to the surface in this channel right out in front of the lodge, which is known, interesting enough, as the Canal de Ballenas, which literally means whale canal. And because of that 4,000-foot deep marine trench where the water is forced upward, you get these plankton blooms. And then there's these specific bays where the plankton tends to concentrate due to the currents in the water. And that is why the whale sharks specifically come to this area, because there's a higher concentration of surface plankton than just about anywhere in the Sea of Cortez. And so that is why they come specifically to this area. And this is looking down on the Bahia de Los Angeles area, the area out underneath the wing that looks like the other side of the land is actually, that's an island, a 40-mile long island, and that is the Canal de Ballenas between the islands and that land mass outside. But the whales come in the very lower part of the shot. They're down in the bottom of the bay, and that's where the water comes in and swirls around. Although we'll see them in many areas, they tend to congregate into the southeast portion of the bay. And so that's coming into the Bahia de Los Angeles area. That is your normal view as the pilot typically swings by the lodge and gives you a great aerial view of where you're going to be spending the next 6 days and where the whale sharks are. And sometimes if it's clear enough and calm, you can see the whale sharks as well. So that's a really treat. And we not only have whale sharks, we have, as I was saying before, the highest concentration of marine mammals. That means fin whales, the second largest mammal on the planet, blue whales, the largest mammal on the planet, humpback whales, which is this picture is. We also have bride's whales and false killer whales and numerous types of dolphins, and literally schools of dolphins that sometimes will be in the boat and guests go, oh, there's a wind coming or waves coming, and literally it's a pod of dolphins that might be a half a mile across that are breaking the water so much that it looks like a wave coming at us, and then you're just surrounded by literally thousands and thousands of dolphins. And on any given time, we go, sometimes the whale sharks are right in the bay and we don't have to travel very far, but other times we go into the back of the bay, and this is a picture. You can see the color of the water, and that is because of that high concentration of plankton. And it does outside the water will be blue, but inside the bays it'll be this kind of greenish hue, and so they're going in. But when we go to look at the whale sharks, typically we're going to see whales, we're going to see dolphins, we have sea lion, rookeries, different little islands where the sea lions congregate and live, and either typically on the way back or as an afternoon activity, we'll go snorkel with the sea lions. Of course, on our trips, all of our guides and our naturalist guides, and they're going to lead some great excursions, exploration of some of the islands, of some of the mangrove estuaries. This is on the peninsula near the lodge. That's a small cardone cactus. They're actually the tallest cactus in the world, and they get up to about 50 feet tall. And so there's a great diversity. This is so much more than a whale shark snorkeling trip. You're really going to experience a wilderness area that is has a large variety of plants and animals that are endemic and unique to that area. So you can go next. And they are typically found around the world. There's not a lot known about the migratory behaviors. Just in recent years, they've been doing some satellite tagging where they have the ability to tag the whale shark with a receiver transmitter so that they can follow the migration patterns. And they're finding some of the whale sharks that are in our area end up over in the Philippines. So they didn't really realize that the migration was completely across the Pacific. And they are the whale sharks are the largest fish. They are plankton eaters. They they're not mammals, obviously. They're plankton eaters, and when they feed, they tend to feed in a circular pattern, and they feed at an ideal speed at about 1 to 1.5 miles an hour, which is about the right speed to be able to kick your fins and keep up with them. And that's another aspect that makes it so unique. They feed on the surface, they're very docile, and they're very slow. So even if they swim by you, you didn't quite catch up to them, you find another one that's coming right at you. And we're very successful at getting the guests literally as close as that woman is to that whale shark. And as I touched on before, the reason they do visit the Bahia de Los Angeles, I kind of guess I got a little ahead of myself on the slides here, is because of the high plankton content. They arrive there as early as late June is the earliest I've ever seen them there. More typically mid to late July, and then they are consistently there from mid-August through the end of October. And so that is why we run our trips from mid-August through late October. And they are found in most of the bays, although specifically at different times we find they congregate in one bay or another depending on what the tides are doing and what the plankton count is. Usually we go out, and sometimes you have to look for them for a while because they're not spouting. And so you typically will see their dorsal fin and their tail fin breaking the surface as they lazily swim on the surface feeding. And so that's what we look for. And they're large enough. They can get up to 40 feet plus in length. Typically the whale sharks we find in the area tend to be more juvenile, and they're in the 30-foot plus range. And they have incredible coloring, and the frequency of sightings is once we find them, we're in the area, and we're typically with them for the morning, for literally hours, and until everyone's had enough, and then we go back. We like to whale shark snorkel in the morning when it's calm because of being able to find them. That's pictures representative, pretty perfect conditions, calm, and these are back bays. And it's very calm. There's literally no swell, and it's the type of thing that really anybody can do. I've even had people very fearful of swimming don't even swim at all, and we'll put a life preserver on them, and I'll literally hold their hand and get in the water with them. And I had one guest, and she wanted to do it so badly, but she was very fearful. And I said, I'm going to be right there next to you. We're going to be right next to the boat. If you start to panic or whatever, we'll just go right back to the boat. And she timidly got in the water, and I held her hand, and it changed her life, literally. I got emails afterwards that she went to the special classes, she learned how to swim, and now she's going all around the world snorkeling. I believe she's even gotten her dive certificate at this point, and literally it opened up a whole new chapter in her life. It was transformative, and those are the kind of things that I really enjoy, and why I do what I do, because I get to see the excitement, and I get to see how literally I change people's lives. We, all of us at Baja Adventures, change people's life in showing them something they would not have otherwise done or seen. So that is just amazing. Are there any questions
Yeah,
right now, Tim, do you
yeah.
think?
As a matter of fact, I was a good point. We got a Joe. I got a couple of hand raised here. I'm gonna unmute you, Joe, and I see your hand up, Carolyn, as well. I'm gonna unmute you, Joe, and you can ask your question because you had asked a great question earlier from your thing about how far offshore are the whales, and so let's see if we can hear you, Joe. Can you hear us? Are you there, Joe? The question is, does Joe have a microphone? Yeah, his hand is still up, but we can't hear him. I'm going to
Okay,
try. Go,
go ahead.
I'm going to say, why don't I unmute Carolyn? I'm going to mute you again, Joe. And Carolyn Vaught, you had a question, and let's see if you've got a microphone. Carolyn, can you hear us? Well,
Hmm.
Well, the thing about these webinars is in order to ask a question and to speak, you have to have a microphone or have your microphone enabled. But I'm gonna ask before we bring one of our guests in, Lynn Priebus. You can
Well, I
address
can answer the
Joe's
first
question.
question.
Yeah, why don't you do
Yeah,
that? This is from
how far
Joe.
offshore?
Yeah,
You
how
know,
offshore are the
typically
whales?
they are right in these protected bays. There are times when we are 50 feet from the shore. It just depends on where they are in the bay. We're never really more than a half a mile out. And you have to imagine this is a deep, protected, mountain lined bay. So you are in this incredible setting. The mountains in the Mid-Drift Island region, they go up to almost 6,000 feet, and they just go straight up. And so it's very rugged. And then you have these beautiful white sand-lined beaches and rocky shorelines. And in the back bay, where they tend to congregate the most, many times we are very close to the shore. So no, we are not out in the open ocean. You do not feel exposed whatsoever. You're in this beautiful protected bay, and everywhere you look, you see mountains around you.
Cool,
So I
cool.
hope that answers your question.
I think it does. Joe let us know he's here, but he has no microphone. So I'm just sending him a message to type away. And on that note, why don't we? I'm going to unmute um, our guest, Lynn Priebus, and you guys can chat. Lynn, are you there?
I am. My goodness,
Outstanding.
there I am with my dog.
There you are. It's
Yay!
amazing what you can find on the internet. So there you
Oh,
are.
my,
So,
my screen just went, here we go.
welcome,
Okay.
welcome, Kevin. Why don't you chat with Lynn there?
Yeah. Hi, Lynn. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, hi, Kevin. It's
I
nice to talk to you.
Tell us who you are and where you live and how did you get to go on this trip?
Well, I live in Charlottesville, Virginia. We first went down on a whale watching trip with you, and I don't know how long it was, maybe 10 years. And we first did the whale watching over at Guerrero Negro, and then we flew across over to La Unica when it's your first place. And I want to tell you that my screensaver is a picture of Baja. It's just blue, blue, blue. It's wonderful. And so, and my Facebook cover page is me swimming with a whale shark. Um,
Oh, great.
but when it was time for our 50th wedding anniversary 2 years ago, my husband said, "Where do you want to go?" And I said, "What I really want is silence and stars." And that's what Baja is to me when we're at your places. And so we were here then. We flew out to San Diego. We caught the trolley. We went down and stayed in Chula Vista and just caught a taxi down to the airport. And then we were down there with the whales. And that first night, I just sat on my little folding chair from the porch and looked up at those stars and wept because it was so beautiful.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a one of a kind place, and we're so delighted. Now you spent a special a celebration out on one of our trips. Yeah, that was your second trip with us.
That was our second. The first one we went down on the whale watching where we were first in Guerrero Negro and then over at La Unica.
Right, that's our best of Baja whales, sea lions, and dolphins that we run
That's
in
right.
February and March.
And that was your first camp, and now you have Las Animas, which is where we were this time
Uh huh.
for our
And
50th.
How
our
did you
50th
like
wedding
Las
anniversary.
Animas?
And it was great. We went out the first morning, we didn't see whale sharks, and we came back for lunch. But after that, we saw them every time and swam with them. The kitchen always packs you stuff to in a little cooler. So if you didn't get enough breakfast, there's plenty there, and there's always beer and soft drinks in the cooler.
Hmm.
And it's great.
And you were celebrating the 50th anniversary at Las Animas.
Our wedding anniversary, absolutely.
And what would you say was I know you say the stars and the solitude and everything, but on that trip, what was your favorite thing or the thing that most comes to mind about this trip that makes it unique and something special to you?
Well, definitely swimming with the whale sharks. Um, and it was easy to do. I think the rules are that no more than 4 swimmers can be in with a whale shark because you don't want to alarm them. And when you fall back behind them, they don't seem to like that. If they can see you, then they don't worry. But
Hmm.
we would swim with them for 10 or 15 minutes at a time.
And you're able to keep up with them, and they were feeding on the surface like they usually do.
Oh, absolutely. And I had a sprained ankle, so I only had one flipper on at the time, and I was still able to keep up with them with no
Oh,
trouble.
that's great. Yeah, because they're so docile. I mean, they if you're going to create an animal to swim with, I don't think you do a better job than a whale shark, just because how slow and how accessible that they are on the surface of the water like that.
My husband also swam with them, but I think he got more of a kick out of the fishing. They caught a huge Dorado one time when he was out. They said it was the biggest one they'd caught all season.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
So
that
he,
brings up a great point about all the different activities. Are there any other things that you did besides the whale sharks and the stargazing and the solitude and the fishing that you remember?
well, when we would go out more into the Gulf of California, we would see so many, as you said, so many kinds of whales, the porpoises, the pilot whales, the humpbacks. It was just great.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize, that the area is so diverse and all the different things that they're going to see. So is this something you have and would recommend to, say, the people that are listening here? Because a lot of people are here listening because they don't know anything about it and they're a bit apprehensive. They've never, thought of doing something like this or thought that they could actually go on a trip like this and be successful and snorkel with whale sharks.
Well, it's the kind of thing that my husband and I have always enjoyed, just being in nature. It didn't bother us that there were no flush toilets, that you had a composting toilet. I loved hearing the coyotes at night and seeing their little footprints around. We never saw any coyotes, saw some turtles, I think. One thing that was nice for me, I'm a vegetarian, and the kitchen was very obliging for me, fixing special meals for me. I think there were a couple others at the time. And so the vegetarians would kind of get at one table to make it a little easier to serve us. But the couple that was there at least 2 years ago, they were um, very accommodating for whatever you wanted to eat or drink.
And they are still very accommodating and more
Oh,
than
is this
welcome
the same
to
couple?
what's that?
Is it the same couple?
Yes, we have another woman, Teresa, who is just phenomenal. She's one of the best. They're all so very good, and they all have unique dishes that they make. But Teresa is incredible. She's my favorite so far. So and she's down there right now on the trip right now. So is
And
there
they were
anything?
they
Go
were
ahead.
also very patient. They were also very patient with my Spanish.
Yeah, that's another thing is that our staff is there and it's an opportunity to interact with the locals. That's our policy to hire all the locals that live in the area and in Baja and so that's something that absolutely guests can do. They can go in the kitchen and talk to the cooks or talk to the boat captains, and these people are salt of the earth and been there their whole life, and they know more about it than probably I'll ever know. But that's a unique part of it as well. Anything that you can add, Tim?
No, I'm thrilled that you visited us, and as a highly traveled individual and having stayed at a lot of places, your accolades and your endorsement really means a lot to us, and we're honored that both you and Glenn decided to spend such a special time with us, and we look forward to your 60th with us.
Oh, thank you. I'll say one last thing. What I would do every night before finally returning to our little yurt was I would just walk along the shore and watch the phosphorescence in the water as my feet splashed the waves.
Yeah, that's another byproduct of that incredibly high plankton count is the bioluminescence is some of the best. It's the best that I've ever seen in the world. And there are times we go out on the boat too. I can remember where we'll get into a pod of dolphins and they look like luminescent torpedoes coming at the boat because they like to swim in the bow wakes. And it's just something you just don't see too many places on the planet, that type of explosive phosphorescence in the water where everything is aglow. So I know exactly what you're talking about. There's so many aspects. I forget all the different things that we do, and it make it such a neat place. So thanks for reminding me of that. That's one of my favorite things at night to do.
Lynn, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being a guest and sharing. And we're going to move on here because we got some more cool stuff to cover. But thanks so much, and give your best to Glenn.
You're very welcome, and I
And,
will.
and I'm gonna
Thank
mute
you
you
very
now.
much, Lynn.
Okay. Thank you, Lynn. Hit it, Kevin.
Okay, so we base everything at our Las Animas Wilderness Lodge that Lynn was just talking about, and it is, in fact, the only boat-in lodge on the Sea of Cortez in Baja, Mexico. So that makes it very unique, and that is why we see the things that we do, because we are as far from man as you can get, and that's a sunrise. Actually, we face southeast, so we have sunrises over the water. So everything's kind of turned around because we are on the Sea of Cortez there, and that's our boats waiting to take the guests out. Small groups, typically 10 to 16 people, and then we have small groups. It's all inclusive, so it's really everything. It's your private round trip air, it's your boat transfers to the lodge, it's your meals, your drinks, including alcoholic beverages. It is all of your excursions and use of all the equipment. So it's truly everything. There's a view of Dookie, one of our mascots, and that's the common area where everyone hangs out and enjoys the afternoon or the evening. And that's actually a fin whale skull on the beach there, and some of the vertebrae. And we see bones, whale bones, all over the place, and sea lions. And it's just, it's really, when you get out there, you feel like you're seeing an area for the first time, because very few people in reality have been there. And we own the bay there and have spread out the lodge. There's another whale vertebrae on the steps, and that's our number 8 cabin. That's kind of the furthest away. It's up on the bluff. But all the accommodations are literally a stone's throw away from the beach. They're as close to the high tide line as we could actually put them without endangering the yurt. So, you know, when the high tide's up, sometimes you're only about 20 feet from the water. So you can go next. The accommodations, it's based on double occupancy. And as Lynn said, we have a dry compost toilet. They work amazing. We've never had any complaints on them. And it's part of our mission statement is we really want to be have zero footprint, basically. All the yurts are built up on stilts, so we didn't have to excavate or move any dirt or change the surrounding terrain. The compost toilets have zero waste that they put into the environment. We use solar power for our electricity. We have California King pillow top memory foam mattresses. That's kind of a mouthful, but and 400 thread count sheets and down comforters when you need them. And really, in a yurt, you can see the stars at night and you can hear the animals. Sometimes you can be laying in bed at night and you'll hear the and you can literally hear the water raining down as a whale transfers across the bay, and sound really travels in that area, and you can hear sea lions and the gulls, and it's really, you're very, very close to nature when you're at Las Animas. As she was commented on our cooks, It's all inclusive. It's all your drinks. It's all your meals, and we can accommodate special dietary requests. The food is good, and there's plenty of it. And of course, the emphasis is on a lot of fresh fish. We do go out, and as she said, her husband caught that huge Dorado. Well, that huge Dorado is going to be filleted, and we're going to be eating it within an hour. And we'll make sashimi, and we'll barbecue, and we'll do ceviche, and you will eat like kings there and queens. There's clams, there's oysters, a variety of bass, and so we really want it to be just as it says right there. We let you decide which activity you want to most participate in. Like Lynn's husband, he wanted to fish, so he went fishing. Other people might want to go kayaking. Other people might want to go to the sea lion rookery in the afternoon. So the days are built around snorkeling with the whale sharks in the morning, coming back, having a great lunch, and then it's your choice of activity, whether that means a siesta or doing one of the other numerous activities, stand-up paddleboard. We have a sailboat. There's really no limit to the things that one can do. And it's the type of area, too, you could paddle a kayak for 10 minutes and go around the corner and find your own perfect little jewel beach, and you will be the only two people on the planet for all practical purposes. There's a perfect example. And aptly named, we named that Honeymoon Beach because that's a very romantic, secluded beach, or a place just to find complete isolation and solitude. There's also some osprey nests along the cliff there, and you know, whatever it is you want to do. So I think we've covered that. Another picture of one of the favorite activities. The beach combing is phenomenal. People always go, well, is it okay? There's shells everywhere, and they go, yeah, you know, pick them up. We don't advocate, you know, taking vast quantities of shells or taking any live shells, but certainly the shells that are on the beach, we let guests bring them back and then take a few select shells. But we are all about sustainability out there. So that's just a list of some of the fun things you can do. Those are some foster killer whales out in front of the lodge. And more times than not, on any excursion, whether we're going over to do a hike or to explore an offshore island or snorkel with sea lions, we see something neat. You know, there was one time we went out kayaking, and it was at sunset, and there was an incredible sunset, and some of the guests wanted to go kayaking, so we got in the kayaks and we went out around the corner, and we saw some fin whales, and they were out in the channel, and they feed along the shore. The shore is so very deep. The channel is 4,000 feet deep, so you can have a 20 feet deep of water, and then it just goes into the abyss. And the whales will come in right next to the shore. And there's a picture of a fin whale right off Las Animas. And we were out there, and we try and position ourselves so that when they come up, we're going to be fairly close to them, and it makes it more exciting. Well, this particular time, I got a little more than I bargained for. Is that I was the leader, and I was maybe 15 feet in front of a group of kayakers, and all of a sudden the water started to bulge up, and the finback whale literally came up right underneath my kayak, and I was yelling, "Oh my God, oh my God," and the guests, of course, were saying, "Oh my God, oh my God," and literally my kayak was lifted out of the water, and I slid off its back. I didn't tip over, thank goodness. And that was just amazing. And then they continued to feed all around us. And the sound that the whales make when it's absolutely perfectly still. I mean, there is no exterior noise pollution. There's no jets. There's no cars. There's nothing. No dogs barking. There's nothing. Perfectly quiet. And you hear the and the swishing of the tails. And so, you know, I've had so many magic experiences out there. And I know the guests who were there that day will never, ever forget that. So that's kind of a neat story, something that I'm reminded of. Just some pictures of the snorkeling, phenomenal snorkeling. We have, it's a unique area in that the Mid-Drift Island region is one of the few places in the world that get like 80 degrees in the summertime, and it gets in the mid to low 60s in the wintertime. So for such a large body of water to have such temperature extremes, we have a really diverse marine ecosystem. You have plants and animals that you would find, say, off California and in colder water, even Northern California. colder water species of fish like lingcod and things like that. And then you have those beautiful angelfish that was in the last picture, and more tropical species. So it's a very unique underwater environment in that respect. And that's a favorite activity, just snorkeling with the whale sharks. You can do that every single day, and they're very playful. They come right up to you. They look you right in the face. They blow bubbles. They blow bubble rings too, which I think they practice because they're very good at it. So that's another thing that you can do, and that's just right out in the middle of the bay. You can even paddle your own kayak out, or we take you out in the boat.
Just quick clarification, folks. That I think you meant to say snorkeling with the sea lions.
Circling with the sea lions. We're
Well,
talking about whale sharks.
we
Sorry, I
snorkel.
make mistakes too.
We snorkel with whale sharks too.
Are there
Hey,
any other questions, Tim?
well, actually, we've got to do a quick poll here, another poll, because we want to get a sense of who's here and approximately how old you are, just to kind of get an idea. Just to take a quick moment, folks, and this, by the way, is confidential, and we're just getting an idea because one of the things Lynn had shared with me earlier, and we know from a lot of the attendees, is that there was a question of, oh, I'm not that active or I'm older. Can I do this? And we're just going to come on to a few more seconds, folks. Let's get that your votes in, and to see if is this appropriate for me, no matter what age I am. Okay, we're gonna finish off this in 3, 2, 1. Okay, here's the results. Do you want to speak to Kevin about
I'm
capabilities?
right in that 80% category myself. So.
Yeah, me too.
And it's absolutely appropriate. We've even had people with disabilities, and you can be literally, a lot of the activities are boat based, and there's not, if you don't want to hike or do anything strenuous, you don't have to, and we're never going to force you, or you're never going to feel like you miss out on anything by, oh well, I can't quite do that, or I'm uncomfortable to do that. There's always a way to accommodate different activity levels.
We've got a question has come in from a Mr. Jamtastic. Why don't we'll take that call just a second. I'm going to unmute him if I can find him again, and you can ask that question yourself. Are you there, Mr. Jamtastic?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can hear you.
So why don't you ask your question, Ross? This is this little inside joke, folks. This is our oldest brother, Ross, calling in from Vermont, who's also the jam king of the universe.
Well, I want to say first of all that I've been down to Los Animas. It was an incredible experience, and I look forward to doing it again sometime. My question was during the months of August, September, and October, when the whale sharks are in the local area, how warm's the water?
The water is about 80 degrees, so it's really nice.
So a wetsuit's not necessary.
Not at all. Not at all. The only thing we recommend is maybe like a sun nylon swim vest or long sleeves to keep the sun off you, because you're in the water, but the sun's on you. So you either want to wear some sunscreen or something to protect you from the sun. But the water's wonderful. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. I think it's ideal. 80 degrees, 80 to 81. Which falls right in line with that 80% of us 50 to 69-year-olds.
Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, well, thanks very much.
Cool.
All right, I appreciate the call in, Ross. Thanks.
You guys have a fantastic day.
Okay.
We shall.
We've got another one. Let's see if Jennifer Condon, do you have a microphone, Jennifer? You can ask her a great question. Jennifer? Maybe
I got a mic, I don't think. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Welcome, Jennifer.
Hey, Kevin, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm just wondering, since Mackenzie had gone on that trip so long ago, and she was, about 9 then, and she's 20 and a sophomore at college now, are you still allowing children to go on the trips?
Absolutely, yeah. And thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, I mean, as long as they're well behaved, as your daughter was. No, it is. I have 3 daughters, and they started going down at a very early age, and I really think it kind of set the stage for their love of marine animals and the outdoors, and it's very appropriate, just as it was for your daughter, You know, a 9 or 10 year old or any age really above, say, 4 or 5 is able to participate in all the activities. But we've even had families who go down with children that are even younger than that. So absolutely, we still allow that. We let the other guests know, you know, who's on the trip and everything. But it's never been a problem. And, you know, the kids are just enamored with what they see and excited, and they add a lot to the trip, I think. So yes is the answer.
Yeah, Mackenzie had a blast that trip and still talks about it and now wants to do Sea Shepherd afterwards because she was so touched by the experience after she graduates from college.
Wow, I can't believe she's in college already.
I know, I know.
Wasn't that long ago.
I agree with that. Anyway, it was fantastic, and we're hoping to save our pennies and go on one of these trips. And now I think you know, I've got a little girl from China who's now 10.
Oh, okay.
So she's interested in doing adventures, but she doesn't want to do the same thing that the rest of the family has done without her. So this might be the perfect thing.
Great, and as a beloved alumni, we offer great discounts to give you some incentive and save you some money when you come back. So keep that in mind as well. That we built the business on repeat business and word of mouth, and we would love to have you back. So you know, give me a call anytime. I always love to talk Baja. You know me.
I know. That's how I ended up coming. I called you, and I was told before the end of the conversation. So you'll probably a couple more boats and a couple more yurts and a couple more planes after this webinar.
Yeah, we'll keep plugging away. 24 years. I love what I do, and I'm not going to change now. So
it's a great place. It's a great place.
Thank you, Jennifer. Really appreciate you being here and spreading the word. I'm going to unmute you now because we have a little bit of echo. I just heard from my wife. Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, we're going to move on here, Kevin. And talking about bonuses and alumni discounts, why don't you just give them a sneak peek?
Yeah, we've got some specific trips that are coming up. We are in whale shark seasons, and in the season, and whale sharking is good. Every one of our trips, our guests have snorkeled with the whale sharks, and it's been just great, like it always is down there. And we do have some very specific trips with a few empty seats, and we like to fill up seats just like anybody. So we are offering those who are listening right now some great incentives. We're going to offer our deluxe yurt upgrade. We've got a couple of yurts that we did upgrade that are a little larger, and they're very, very nice. And then also we're going to pay for your hotel in the Gaslamp District downtown, right within walking distance of about 150 restaurants and right near the bay. One of my favorite places to be. And we're also going to do the airport shuttle. And then if you're traveling alone, single supplement. So it's everything that says right there in front of you. And we have 4 spots on a couple of different trips coming right up. So at the end, we're going to show you those dates. And it's first come, first serve. Whoever gets them, we did this on the last webinar, and we're very successful, and they sold out very quickly. So you'll be able to have an opportunity to call me after the webinar. Anyways, just a quick overview of the itinerary. We do fly out of San Diego Brown Field, which is a smaller general aviation airport about 20 miles, 18 miles south of the main downtown area, downtown airport. And your pilot is the guide. And that's what makes these trips unique, is that you are with the same group and the same guide. We have about a 1-to-5 guide to guest ratio. We fly you, we're first going to fly over to San Felipe. That's just about an hour flight. And then we check in with customs. And then from there, we fly down to the Mid-Drift Island region. And then this is the boat transfer. And the boat transfers, absolutely, just like Lynn and everyone says, we see a lot of animals, typically dolphins, sea lions, and whales in the area on the boat transfer over to the lodge. And that's another fin whale diving just right off the lodge. And so the first day is we get you situated and everything, and we typically go out doing some activities. And then the next 4 days in the morning, as I said earlier, morning is the best time to snorkel with the whale sharks. It's the calmest. It's when they're docilely feeding on the surface. And so we will spend all morning looking and for whale sharks and snorkeling with whale sharks, and then we will come back, and we do it in in small groups, as Lynn had said. We only allow so many divers in the water, but we have small groups and we have multiple boats. Evenings, the stars are absolutely phenomenal because we are 300 miles away from any population center. It's some of the best stargazing on the planet, and we have fires. We sometimes play music. We walk along the shoreline. We'll take boat rides out to see the phosphorus, or kayaking out to see the phosphorus, or even swimming because the water is 80 degrees and just moving your hand through the water is great. So that is day 2 through 5. Snorkel with the whale sharks in the morning. Las Animas for lunch. Afternoon is your choice of all the numerous activities that we have. And that is a picture of one of our guides, Thomas Rubin, and I believe he is here today, isn't he, Tim? Tim?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, I had muted myself, and I'm going to unmute
I
you.
was like, oh no, we have a technical difficulty.
We've lost
Anyway,
one.
I thought this might be a good time to bring in Tom, since we have a picture of him on the beautiful beach at Las Animas, and have him say from a guide's perspective.
Tom, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, I don't know if you got my good side on that picture, but got the good
You
side
look
of the
pretty buff. You look pretty buff.
No, thanks for having me. And yeah, no, everything that's been said by Lynn and everyone, all the other guests is spot on. I mean, the experience is quite a rewarding one that I haven't had anybody complain about, and I've only heard positive reviews from everyone that we've flown down. And I've been flying with Kevin now for almost 4 years, and I was up flying up to fishing lodges and such up in Alaska and Canada in seaplanes, and this is the closest thing you can do to that. Kind of the opposite though, going down to Baja, and it's a great experience.
Yeah, I know you are a consummate fisherman. I know not everybody likes to fish, but a lot of people like to eat fish, and so Tom is your guy. And what type of fish can people eat and or catch at that time of the year?
Well, like Lynn had talked about, they caught the biggest Dorado that they've ever seen on her trip, and God, you can catch anything from the Dorado, which are basically the same thing as a mahi mahi or a dolphin fish they call in Florida. So you'll get the Dorado, the mahi mahi, the yellowtail, which is hamachi in your sushi bar, and the snapper. Um, you even have the occasional ahi or yellowfin tuna, and like Lynn said, you bring them in, catch them. The staff, the cooks, do a great job. We do sashimi plates. We do do the fish on the barbecue or whatever, how anybody wants them. It's quite an experience. And
Yeah, I remember the time when I've taken groups clamming, and we go out to the mouth of this estuary, and it's this beautiful saltwater marine mangrove estuary, and we go to the mouth of the estuary, and we tell everyone to get out at this certain spot and put their hands in the sand, and everyone comes up with clams, and then we'll fill up as many clams as we need, which is generally, for a group, a half a 5-gallon bucket, a lot of clams, or even a 5-gallon bucket. And we come back, and then we have a big clam bake at happy hour, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, you'd pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars to have this many clams, and they're so good the way they steam them and serve them with the bolillos, the bread and the butter, and oh, it's good stuff."
yeah, I agree. And I've heard so many good. There's Kevin there with some fresh. What are those? Grouper.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. And there's not many places in the world where you can go out and just explore and catch your own fish and bring it in and have a gourmet staff cooking your meal for you right there on the spot. I mean, and there's nowhere on the planet that you can. There are not many places you can do that anymore. And fresh fish is becoming harder and harder to get, and that's what's so great about going down to Baja. You can still do it there, and our staff does a great job preparing that.
Well, I've had a lot of guests say they don't like fish, but then they have this. They go, "This doesn't taste like any fish I've ever had," because they eat it an hour or half an hour later. Uh, so that makes a difference, I believe.
Yeah, and like Lynn was saying earlier, the cooks do such a great job, and they definitely do anything caught justice, which is nice.
All right. Well, great. Thanks, Tom. I appreciate. You've already been on some trips and you're leaving on Monday's trip. So he's looking forward to spending some time and doing what he does best. He's one of our best guys, and I appreciate you taking some time and talking with us, Tom.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Monday trip, and I just did a trip last week, and everybody saw whale sharks. I think there were over 18 of them at one point on one of the dive days. It was
Wow.
crazy.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's phenomenal.
yeah.
That's a lot of whale sharks.
Yep, it's great. Get down and do it. Thanks, guys.
All
Thanks,
right.
Tom.
Thanks,
Really
Tom.
appreciate it.
All right, we'll talk to you
I'm
later.
going to mute you here.
Okay, great. Have a good.
You cut him off.
Sorry, it's a premature muting. Okay.
Anyways, then the last day is activity, and then we head back, and you get back to San Diego by 5 p.m. So it's really quick and easy. And because we utilize the private aircraft, our 6-day trip is worth many other trips that might be 8 days, 9, 10 days or longer because of the private air carriage. We are the only company in Baja that owns their own fleet of aircraft, and the pilots are the guys. We are very unique in that respect, and it really does add incredible value to the trip to be able to fly in a private aircraft all the way down there and land right where we're going. A lot of people don't really think about that, but that adds great value and ease to be able to hop in an airplane and be there. No alternate types of transportation, no ground transportation. We don't mess around. We fly you right in the area at an incredible amount of savings in time. So our 6-day trips are really equivalent to much longer trips.
Yeah, I want to just throw one little quick thing in there before we bring in another guest star, Charlie Baker. Is that some of the places you mentioned earlier, Kevin, that people are having to travel to possibly snorkel with whale sharks or have this sort of privacy is you may travel for if you're going to go to Australia from even from Los Angeles, you're going to be losing a full day of travel on either end, and then you've got jet lag to deal with. The fact that people can meet you at 7 a.m. and be having lunch out at this incredible piece of paradise that same day is amazing. And I don't know about you all, but for me, my time is my most valuable asset. And the fact that I can just jump right into adventure and not spend all this time traveling means an awful lot. So I really want
Yeah,
people to
this
think about that.
this is the closest spot in the northern hemisphere or to the United States to be able to snorkel with whale sharks. And it is a short flight, but I've had many seasoned travelers, as I said before, that have traveled all over the world. They never got to snorkel with whale sharks and traveled all over the world for other things, to see polar bears and Baffin Island and Antarctica and safari in Africa. And they said this is one of the most remote feeling spots that they've ever been to. Yet we're just a couple hours from San Diego. So that is another very unique aspect, that you have this type of pristine, untouched wilderness. It's kind of this area that just got forgotten. The road is inland. The Mexico resorts are way to the south. There's no international airport. Thank goodness, because it has preserved this jewel of a spot. It's an overlooked area. It's hard to get to, and we like it just fine. So with that, I will say hello to Charlie Baker, a guest and now good friend.
Hey Kevin, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for being here, Charlie. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem, pal.
So tell us about your trip. You tell us who you are and where you live and how you came to go on this trip and who you went with.
Well, I live here in San Diego, and I went down there. I wound up meeting you and got talked into doing this thing. It was definitely a kind of a bucket list kind of a trip that I've always kind of heard stuff about, always wanted to do. I talked my wife into it, who wasn't really sure about wanting to go because just of the being such a wilderness and swimming with these big giant man-eating sharks that she didn't want to really be with.
They are not man-eating.
And I convinced her to go, and I'm getting an echo in here. Is it me? Is it?
Maybe turn down your volume.
Okay, let me do that. Is it better now?
Yeah, I don't hear an echo.
Okay, all right. The trip started from the moment we got down to the airport.
Charlie, excuse me. Turn down your speaker volume.
I'm sorry.
Totally. That might help.
Okay, is that better?
I don't know. we're going to try to do the best we can.
Let me put the speaker behind. How's that?
It sounds fine to me.
Okay. Because I got to be able to hear you and the questions. I'm sorry. So anyhow, the trip started with getting down to the airport and getting on the plane and the takeoff. I mean, the whole thing's just exciting beyond belief. I mean, it's kind of like in a movie. You know, you get on this plane and you're flying over the mountains and stuff, and you get up to like 10 or 12,000 feet to clear the mountaintops and I mean, that was just the gas. And then you land down there in Los Alamos, and you're looking, where's the airstrip? And it's just little tiny airstrip, and you land, and the thing is just cool. So then you get in the boat, and you're traveling on the boat, and like, I mean, just to ride into where the campsite at, it was just phenomenal. Just in the boat, the water's so blue, and the mountains are coming up, and you come into the campsite, and I mean, it was just nonstop adventure from the moment I got out of the plane to the moment I got off the plane when we landed back in San Diego. It was just nothing but it was exciting and exhilarating, and yet it was relaxing all at the same time. And I'm not a very relaxing kind of person. I'm kind of real high energy, and there was plenty of places for me to expend all my energy, and got to go swimming with the seals, which was a blast. My wife still wouldn't get into the water when we went, but we dove every day, and we saw whale sharks every day. And one time, Tom said something about being 18 sharks in one day. We had 8. We had 8 there at one time, and I have this one picture that I took. I was probably about 4 or 5 feet under the water, and this 30-foot long, had to be at least 30 feet long, whale shark is swimming right for me, and I got my this picture being taken, and it's this big giant gaping mouth, and it's coming right at you, and it just slowly slides, and it just literally went right down between my legs and just swam off, and I've got this picture of this big giant mouth coming at me, and it's just spectacular. I mean, it's a once in a lifetime shot that I show everybody when I talk about this. Doing this, and even my wife, there was a couple of the whale sharks even swam up close to the boat. My wife even got to stick her hand down in there and and touch one as they went by, and that just thrilled her to death. She was excited beyond belief just to do that, even though she was afraid to get into the water. But it was spectacular. I loved it. I want to do it again.
Great, and we would love to have you do it again. What's one of the things you think? What was your best memory, or the best thing about that you remember about this trip?
Wow. I guess
if there's any one thing you can think of.
I guess getting on the plane on Monday and then getting off of it on the following Saturday, I guess that would probably be the best time. It's hard to say. I mean, everything is special unto itself. You've got the swimming with the whale sharks is I mean, obviously that's what you're going down there for. So that was key. That was a big deal. Swimming with something that's that large, and yet no danger in being involved with, other than maybe getting smacked by a fin if you get too close. And I mean, that was special. One of my favorites probably was swimming at the seal rookery. I love going out there. We'd go out there to the seal rookery, and you're diving with them, and they're swimming all around you, and they're looking at you, and they've got this inquisitive face, like, yeah, we haven't seen you before, and they swim all around you, and they come right up by you, and they look at you, and they swim around. Then you go out to the point, you go out past the point, and you do the snorkeling, and you're diving in on that one point that juts out into where it gets into the open water there, and the underwater life, the fish, the color, the fish colors, and everything, and that was special. I love the yurts. I was in. You showed the picture of yurt number 8. We stayed in yurt number 8. That was the furthest away from everybody else. I think you put me there for a reason. But it was the yurt was spectacular, and at night it's just the stars. They almost keep you awake because there's so many of them, and it's just amazing. I love that. We went hiking. We were hiking in where the tide comes up real high, and you kind of had to hurry before the tide come up too high to get stuck in the mud. I climbed that mountain right above there. I mean, just God, it was nonstop. It was nonstop. The cooks were spectacular. The lady cooks, I'll tell you what, they could take an old shoe and make it taste good. They were spectacular. And you had to go out every day and catch your if you wanted to eat, you had to catch fish so they could.
Well, that's not necessarily true, but yeah, I mean, we allow people to fish or not fish. I think we did that to you on purpose, Charlie.
Because you don't want us to eat a lot.
So I mean, I mean, for anyone who's even thinking about doing this, do it. I mean, it is so cool. There'll be nothing like. You'll have nothing that you can even compare it to for the rest of your life. It's an adventure that is just, it's beyond belief, and it's cool. You don't have to be a wild man like myself to enjoy this. There's a lot of very reserved people that have probably more fun than me. But by all means, I would highly recommend it to anybody.
Well, thank you so much, Charlie. That gives me a good glimpse, and I'm delighted that you had such a good time. And yeah, it's just it's what keeps me going. I keep hearing this from people who go, and it re-energizes myself. So thank you for being a guest, and thank you for for sharing. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Charlie. I'm gonna mute you, and because we've also been getting a bit of echo on your side too, I think. But thank you, Charlie, so much.
All right, now.
Bye. So any other questions? And we're getting to the point where I can't believe we've been doing this for over an hour already.
Yep, time flies.
So anyways, this is I'll just go over again. We have this coming up with the deluxe yurt upgrade, the accommodations downtown, the shuttle ride, and if you're traveling single, no single supplement. And it's first come, first serve until the spots are filled. So what are those dates, Tim?
Well, it's actually this is a carryover from the last slide. This is my error, folks. Sorry. We're gonna keep the special until the spots fill, or until I think the 19th of September.
Yeah, August 28th wouldn't work.
Yeah. So that's the previous one. So there's 3 dates.
Yeah, and we have a trip leaving next week. The whale sharks are there. It is confirmed. The water is about 81. We're coming into really, really nice weather. The whale sharks are there in August, but it is a little warmer in August. And now that we get into mid-September, and then people always ask me, when would you go? Of course, given the opportunity to go anytime I want, my favorite time is the mid to late September to early to mid-October. I mean, this is the magic time in Baja when the water temperature is as good as it's going to get. It starts to cool down, and then it cools down even more at night. Great sleeping weather. You have a blanket, and so you have the best of everything. You've got incredible amounts of whale sharks and all the other animals that we see there, but really the nicest weather of the entire year. Very not a lot of wind, not a lot of weather generally, and calm conditions in the morning, ideal temperatures, no humidity, no bugs. It's really ideal. This is it. From now until the end of October is the best that the Cortez has to offer from a weather standpoint, even if the whale sharks weren't there, this is when I would go. It's got everything, and I can't stress that point enough. This is, and we do still have some spots open, so take advantage of that. And I really want to thank everyone for participating, for listening to us. If any of you have any questions, as you can tell, I like to talk about Baja, and I'm always happy because it re-energizes myself. Please feel free to call me at the number there on the screen. And if you just, there are no silly questions. I'm always happy to answer questions. And please give us a call with any questions. And I can't say anything more. I think we've pretty much covered everything, unless there's some last minute questions or anything, Tim. Are you there, Tim? So I don't know if
I'm here. Sorry,
I
I muted myself. I'm sorry, but wait, there's more. We actually do have some more questions and answers, and there are a couple more dates that are available. Don't have the specials going, but there are some more dates. I wanted to throw out a couple more real quick questions here. I don't see anybody with their hand raised that's got a microphone, but we got some questions that came in real quick. Let me see. We covered when is the next trip from Melissa Scordell. We
That's
covered
next week.
we covered Joe's question on how far offshore. Here's a good one. We got this from a couple people, from Carrie Conley, and we also from Di Paris. How do the okay? It's the same question we're asking: is do the whale sharks mind humans swimming with them?
No, they seem to be very docile. They do like it when you're in front of them more. They're just going about their business of feeding, and it is regulated. We are one of the few companies in the area that holds the permits. Everybody gets a band. We pay a park fee, and they only let so many people in there at a time. And there is a ranger that monitors it, and we're one of the people that kind of worked with the government and implemented some of the better practices for snorkeling with whale sharks. And we're very much into not molesting them. We want them to come back to the area again and again, and in no way harm or endanger them. And that's why we follow very strictly. But in my experience, no. They just do go about their business, and if it means you're right there next to them, they really don't care one way or the other. They're large enough, they don't have any real predators, and they just feed, and it's almost as if you're not even there. And they will swim right and brush up against you very unintentionally. Sometimes you have to get out of the way, and that's fun. And so no, we do not endanger them or harm them or harass them, and they don't seem to mind one way or the other.
We have a couple other questions, but I want to be respectful for people's time. We're running just a little over, and we appreciate everyone's patience. Why don't we move to the last couple slides? And I certainly encourage anybody who's got any question, not only about the whale sharks, but traveling to Baja. Kevin really is an expert. He's been doing this an awful long time, and he's, as you can see, likes to talk about Baja. But here are I put up the other dates, Kevin, for people to see.
Yeah, and these are, like I said, this is as good as it gets, folks. My favorite time of the year. It's just perfect. All right. So anyways, there's go to our Facebook page, like us on Facebook, all that social media stuff. But we do post pictures and post some great information on our Facebook page. And then, of course, you can connect with me also at BajaAirVentures.com, and then the 800 number as well for those who want to call in and book their trip or have any questions. And then I also wanted to say, as Lynn Priebus, she went with us on our Best of Baja, whales, sea lions, and dolphins. That happens in February and March. And that is a perfect complimentary trip. Many of our guests have gone on the Best of Baja and then gone on a whale shark trip, or vice versa. and it's really ideal. Different time of the year, different animals, a different location as well. We actually go over to the largest and most populated of the 3 calving grounds for the California gray whale. And last year we had over 1,500 whales in the lagoon. And that's where, if you've ever seen the pictures of the whales right next to the boat, you're petting and touching the whales. That's where that happens. Incredible high success rate. Every one of our trips has had friendly encounters, and that's hard to believe, but in all the years I've been doing this, it's that consistent. There's that many whales. And so we spend 3 days over there, and we spend 3 days over on the Sea of Cortez. So it's a perfect trip. So, and you can find that information out on our website at the BajaAirVentures.com. So just want to do a little cross promotion and let you know that we do have those trips. And then we run just trips to Las Animas. As everyone said, it's a spectacular place no matter what's down there, from the stars to the whales to the fishing to the hiking, kayaking. So we run trips on a year-round basis when we're not doing the whale shark trips or the Best of Baja trips.
Excellent. Kevin, I really appreciate your time, your enthusiasm, and sharing. And special thanks out to all our guests, and a special thanks to all of you who took time from your day to be here with us. Once again, call Kevin if you have any questions. And those dates that were listed, in fact, let me put those back up on the screen here. These are the dates. Oops, these are the dates.
Okay.
Technical problem. These are the dates that have the special bonuses. And so if you're interested in traveling soon and saving a bunch of money, those are the dates. Kevin, thank you so much. And any closing words?
I really appreciate this. Is fun. It's neat technology. We'll get better at it. We'll keep fine tuning it. Thank you for all the attendees and all the guests. And those are sitting on the fence there. Give me a call right now. Don't wait another year. So many people say I'm so glad I didn't wait, because it really is a unique, life-changing experience. So thank you very much, and you guys all have a great evening.
Thanks, Kevin. Take care. I'll see you all later.
Bye-bye.